It is 6 o'clock. I will call this meeting of the Honey Grove, the regular meeting of the Honey Grove City Council meeting to order. It's May 13th, and as I said, it's 6 o'clock. We have tonight Ms. Lane, Mr. Peavy, and Mr. Webb present. Therefore, we have a quorum to continue our meeting tonight. And if you will bow your heads and join me, I will offer the invitation. Father, tonight we come to you and beseech you to help us to do the things that we need to do. Help us to be the good stewards for the city of Honey Grove, to address the needs of the citizens of Honey Grove and always focus on their needs. Father, tonight we pray for our national leaders, we pray for our state leaders, and the decisions and issues with which they are faced. We pray for the members of this council and for the staff who work for the city of Honey Grove. Father, we ask and lift up those who are suffering tonight, either through illness or who've suffered a loss in their family, and we are with them in their grief. Be with us as we go through this meeting tonight, and be with us in the coming days and weeks. These things we ask in Christ's name. Amen. Amen. This time we'll move to the public forum, and I have one person who is speaking on a non-agenda item, and that's Ms. Linda Massey. You're up.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Linda Massey. I stand before you this evening not out of disregard for history, but out of deep concern for our community's future. While the Markham Building may have historical significance, it is time we ask ourselves a hard but necessary question. Does preserving this structure truly serve the best interests of our city today? Let's be honest. This building has stood vacant for years. It's deteriorating, it's not structurally sound, it's not accessible, and it's not safe. The cost of renovation and bringing it up to modern standards is staggering. Money that could be spent on infrastructure or city streets that directly benefits our residents. History isn't defined by crumbling walls. It's written by the people who live here, who work here, who raise their families here. Our community deserves more than an empty monument. We deserve spaces that are useful, safe, and aligned with the needs of today, not the past. We've heard the arguments to preserve it, but preservation without purpose is just stagnation. Sentimentality should not outweigh safety or sustainability. We had the chance to create something new, possibly a food lot for the food trucks and to have more food options, and that can serve people now and for generations to come. Demolishing this building isn't erasing history, it's making room for the future. We can honor the past with plaques, photographs, exhibits, or even by removing the stones and giving it to the businesses around the square, preserving the originality of the downtown area. But we must move forward. I have a copy of a petition that I have had signed by residents in Honey Grove, and I would like for you to consider that the Markham building be demolished instead of spending tax dollars on trying to bring back a building that will never be the same again. Let's choose progress. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Here's a copy of the petition.
Yeah. Thank you. At this time, we'll look at the consent items you have in your packet. The minutes of the previous meeting. You have the City Council meeting minutes, the City Council meeting of April 15th, 2025, the City Council workshop of April 22nd, 2025. Liabilities and disbursements, basically paying our bills, City Secretary report, the Police Department report, Utilities Department report, and the Fire Department report. Unless there are questions or comments that you want to make about any of these items, I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent items.
A motion that we approve the consent items as presented.
We have a motion from Ms. Lane that we approve the consent items. Do we have a second? We have a second from Mr. Peavy. All in favor? Motion carries. At this time, are there any presentations that says information only, not action items from the council members? Nothing? Okay, we move along. Item 7 is old business. Consider and take action on the donation box, drop box on Highway 82 and 56. We put this on this, Ms. Lane asked that this be put back on there basically because we weren't quite sure what was going to happen with that. I called the TxDOT folks last week and trying to determine whether that box was on TxDOT or whether it was on the city of Honey Grove. And I was told that they would look at it, they believed it was on them, and that they would look at it, and if it was on them, they would pick it up because they did not like folks to infringe on their right-of-way. However, I did not hear from them, and as a result of that, and looking at our maps, our city maps, it is on TxDOT. However, they have not picked it up, so our folks have picked it up and are storing it at the city barn until someone comes along and asks for it. And if they come along and ask for it, we will of course return it to them. But in the meantime, it is at city barn right now. So that's where that drop box. Most of you have probably seen the drop box on the east end of town at the Y 56 and 82. And it had become somewhat of a dumping ground where people were just dropping off almost anything. And so anyway, it has been picked up at this point. Item 8 is new business. Consider and take action on. A is disannexation ordinance, Vista Ridge and Wally Addition, number 1, and it lists all of the property owners there. And so I'm going to go to this item and read just a portion of it. An ordinance of the city of Honey Grove, Texas, disannexing certain tracts of land within Vista Ridge and Wally Addition, number 1, located within Fannin County, Texas, making findings of fact, disannexation, certain properties, providing a repealing clause, providing a severability clause, providing an open meeting clause, and establishing an effective date. And we list all of the folks who have made the request to be part of this, and these include Tim and Mary Boyle, Ray Ann Carr, Eric Miller, Rick Glover, Marcus Glover, Sean and Kimberly Vick, Robert and Betty Rowland. Therefore, the motion, the council had taken action, and the effective date for this, the ordinance takes effect immediately from and after its passage and publication in accordance with the provision of the Texas Government Code, and it's accordingly so ordained, passed and approved on the 3rd day of February 2025. So I need a motion to approve the ordinance.
I make a motion to approve.
I have a motion from Mr. Peavy that we approve the ordinance. Do we have a second? We have a second from Ms. Lane. All in favor? Motion carries unanimously. All right. Item B. A resolution authorized signatory for the GLO Resilient Communities Program Grant 23-160-106-F116. And in this, it's generally a routine sort of thing where the council approves an individual to be the signer for these kinds of documents. Correct? Yeah. So we need a motion for the signature for this.
I make a motion we authorize the signature.
Authorize, I'm sorry, Mr. Peavy.
Authorize the signature.
Okay. We have a motion for Mr. Peavy that we authorize, I guess, the mayor's signature.
Yes.
Okay. Second? We have a second from Ms. Lane. All in favor? Motion carries unanimously. C is a resolution adopting the required CDBG civil rights policies. And again, this is a resolution that deals with fair housing, whereas the Title VIII of the Civil Rights Act of 1968 as amended prohibits discrimination in housing and declares it a national policy to provide within constitutional limits for fair housing in the United States. And this is a resolution that we're asked to pass.
The only question that I have about this is on one of the pages, it says the chief elected official or civil rights officer. Are we supposed to have a civil rights officer or?
Generally, that's been me,
Okay, perfect. Okay,
the mayor,
Okay.
whoever that is.
okay. Then I motion that we accept the resolution for the CDBG civil rights policies.
We have a motion for Ms. Lane that we approve the fair housing, the resolution adopting the required CDBG civil rights policies. We have a second. Second from Mr. Webb. All in favor? Motion carries. E, we have tonight Ms. Margarita Coronado, who's here to speak on.
You skipped D.
Did I skip?
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry, thank you. I did skip D. D. I do know how to say the alphabet, just can't read it. Okay. Proclaim April Fair Housing Month. This proclamation will help to fulfill fair housing activity obligations that are required by the grant. And this will also require a motion.
I make a motion, we proclaim April Fair Housing Month.
We have a motion for Mr. Peavy that we proclaim April Fair Housing Month, and we have a second. Second from Mr. Webb. All in favor? Motion carries unanimously. Now we go to E, putting a stop sign, a dead-end road sign, and a street sign for Vineyard Avenue. And Ms. Coronado, do you want to say anything more? Okay. So we've been having conversations about Vineyard Avenue, and for those of you who don't know where Vineyard Avenue is, it's actually up off Market Street on the west end of Market. There was at one time a plat up there that was platted in 1901 of properties, and the streets were named. And the addition itself was called Vineyard Addition, I think. And so they had a street that was also called Vineyard. And that street happens to go into the Coronado property there. And there's been over time discussion about trying to close the street. Council has had conversations with the families, and the tendency toward the council is that we not close a street, but that we try to address the potential of address the request to put a stop sign there, to put a sign at the end near the Coronado property that will designate that that's a dead-end road, and a street sign for Vineyard Avenue to identify the street for folks who might be looking for Vineyard Avenue. And so, council?
That dead end sign would go at the big, like
At
at
the
Market
back. It would go at their end, at their street,
there.
at their property. The stop sign would go out
Right,
on the
on
property.
Market.
Yeah, Market, yeah.
Why wouldn't you put it at the beginning so that people know?
Because you'd be closing that street, potentially. I mean, from the street, you can see the back of the property, so,
Okay.
yeah.
I motion that we put up a stop sign, a dead end road sign, and a street sign for Vineyard Avenue.
Do we have a second? We have a motion from Ms. Lane. We have a second from Mr. Webb. All in favor? Motion carries. Let me just make one other comment about this. These down the road, as has been said, Honey Grove probably will make some changes and grow, and probably what we'll see is properties that now are not in the city limits that will be in the city limits. This just happens in developments as they take place. I don't know when that'll happen, but probably may not in my lifetime. My lifetime is a lot shorter than some of yours at this point. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know the thinking of the good Lord, so, but at any rate, there is such a thing called eminent domain. And should that happen, the state can come and proclaim eminent domain and say, we want to put a road through there and do that. You all know that. So just keep that in mind. The only road that we have ever closed since I have been here is 34. And if you go out 34, after you pass the railroad track, when you get down to Scott Street, you used to turn right there to the right, and you would circle around that white house that sits out on 34 now and come back into 34. And at some point, the state straightened the road out. And so when the folks bought that property there, the farmers, they came asking if we would close, if the city would abandon that road because nobody uses it except the farmers out there. And the city agreed to do that. So we did close that roadway out there. At any rate, moving on, we've done hopefully what you asked us to do. Okay. That brings us to G, canvass and accept the May 3rd vote.
You skipped that.
I can't say my alphabet still, can I? F, amending the ordinance allowing a stop sign to be placed eastbound Maple at 17th Street. And Chief, you want to say anything about that at all?
I think 2 months ago, it was brought up about
You-
stop sign that was coming southwest off of 2875 when you got to the Maple Street. There was a stop sign there. A couple months ago, 2 months ago, we had it removed. Finally found out what was having some place there. Speaking with the school, Chief Burner out there, they felt that perfect. We better put a stop sign eastbound at 17 and Maple for traffic that stop traffic coming from the highway, either keep going or going that way. So in essence, removing one stop sign and placing it on the other opposite side of the road. I don't have to drive to the stop sign.
If-
Right now, it's free for all at that point.
If you couldn't hear what the request is, to amend the ordinance allowing a stop sign to be placed eastbound Maple at 17th Street and removing the southbound sign westbound Maple, CR 2785. And it probably could result in a smoother flow of traffic out there and make it clear to folks who is to stop when they come to that roadway. Discussion from council. Motion?
I motion that we amend the ordinance to allow the stop sign to be placed eastbound at Maple and 17th and then remove the southbound on.
Okay. We have a motion from Ms. Lane that we amend the ordinance allowing the stop sign to be placed eastbound at Maple. Now, the second from Mr. Beebe. Do we have all in favor of the motion? Motion carries. Now, G, canvass and accept the May 3rd municipal votes. Just to run through these, the early voting in-person votes was 109 folks. Election day in-person votes was 82. Mail-in ballots was 3, for a total votes of 194. In that, we ended the results for the unexpired 1-year term. We had Mr. Webb and Mr. Massey as candidates, and Mr. Webb received 88 votes for a total of 48.62%. Mr. Massey received 93 votes for 51.38%. So Mr. Massey was selected and voted to become to fill in for the 1-year term that was vacated by Mr. Cunningham when he resigned. some time ago. So Mr. Massey will be sworn in next, when we have our workshop. We will also have a short meeting following the workshop to swear in the new candidates. Then we had, for the 2-year term, we had 9 candidates, which was, in my experience in Honey Grove and being mayor, and this is my 9th year, this was a landslide year for candidates. So Mr. Finney received 44 votes for 8.94%. Mr. Moon received 95 votes for a total of 19.31%. Mr. Caffey received 111 votes for 22.56%. Mr. Gonzalez, a total of 13 votes for 2.64%. Ms. Perkins received 61 votes for 12.4%. Then Ms. Lane received 65 votes for 13.21%. And Mr. Whitlock received 63 votes for 12.80%. And Mr. Hall received 36 votes for 7.32%. And Mr. Welch received 4 votes for 0.81% for 492 votes. Therefore, we have Mr. Moon, who will be sworn in, and Mr. Caffey will be sworn in, and Ms. Lane will be sworn in. And so next week we will swear in Mr. Massey, Mr. Moon, Mr. Caffey, and Ms. Jones, Ms. Lane again. So we congratulate those who have been elected to serve, who will serve the city of Honey Grove in the next year. And we also appreciate very much those who decided to file, because it was, as I said, a landslide year for candidates to file. And I don't know, just so that I don't I miss the opportunity, I want to express great thanks to Mr. Webb for filling in, standing in when Mr. Cunningham resigned, and filling out that portion of his term and being here with us. He's been a worthy alderman. And Mr. Peavy, just in case you don't show up next week, I hope you will, but if you don't, I want to say many thanks to you for the years of service that you've provided to the city of Honey Grove. You've been a great alderman. So with that, I'll entertain a motion to approve the canvassed votes.
I make a motion to approve the votes.
We have a motion from Mr. Peavy that we approve the canvassing of the votes and accept the May 3rd municipal votes. Do we have a second? I have a second from Ms. Lane, and all in favor of the motion. Motion carries. H, reconsider the potential of renting upstairs at City Hall, stipulating that no cooking on site is allowed. And so tonight we have Ms. Finney, who is here to speak on this issue. It may be on.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Tamisha Penny. I live at 500 Hickory Street in Honey Grove. I've been here all my life. And we have been able to rent the City Hall for years for different events. And I'm just here tonight to ask councilman to reconsider the rental of the City Hall, the elimination of the gas range in the hood, because it costs so much to replace it. And from my understanding, we never used it, hardly ever used it when we did rent it. It's also, it provides more options for rentals and more affordable options for the Honey Grove citizens. So just asking to reconsider the rental of City Hall. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for coming. We have, historically, City Hall has been leased for a variety of different activities. And couple of 2 or 3 years ago, it was decided that it would not be, we would not lease it And there is one issue that is a problem for us here in leasing, and that has to do with cooking upstairs. One, we don't have a commercial kitchen, and our venting system is not up to commercial standards for cooking. And so that became somewhat of an issue. And it became a bit of an issue too sometimes with trying to verify when we would have folks who rented it that would say they had cleaned it, it was cleaner than it was when they started, when that didn't seem to be the case because we were spending money to have it cleaned pretty regularly. At this point, one of the things that's happening is the staff has taken on the cleaning of City Hall. And so they clean the offices, and if we do something, and occasionally the city will do something up there, the city staff will do something. And so we take responsibility for, I say we, not I, but some folks take responsibility for cleaning up there. And so that's one of the issues. Another issue for us became one of where we would have an activity on Saturday and maybe an activity on Sunday, and the person who was cleaning would have to come back on Sunday morning, either come at night late or come back on Sunday morning to clean for the next crew who came in. And that became somewhat of an issue as well. So it was decided that we would not do that. Now, what I will add, and I realize that there are some venues, other venues here in town, and I certainly don't want to distract from them and their things. But I also know that those venues are more expensive. This venue is expensive. It's not for people who live in the Dallas area. This is not a problem, or in a larger city, it's not a problem. It's pretty cheap. But for local folks, a lot of times it's more expensive, and you have to put up a certain amount of money usually when you come in to lease it. And I'm not sure, probably down at the venue is probably the same thing. So can be a bit of a problem. And finding now, I know that at our church, we don't seem to have folks coming in to do things at the church, except for those that are in our church mostly. I guess weddings, if we have weddings there, those folks can certainly access our thing. But a lot of churches now are not allowing other folks coming in to rent their facilities. And so it is more of a problem. It is a bit of a problem. So with that said, I'll leave it to the council to respond to the request and the discussion.
As for me, one of my big concerns was the competing with the other venues, but I do understand that the City Hall is much more friendly to the pocketbook. I would like to see a security deposit or a cleaning deposit applied, so that if they don't take care of it, then that's covering the cleaning fee.
Chester, do you remember what it was?
It was $150 up front.
Up front.
And then when you came in to get the key, you paid the other $150. And then if you left it clean, you got your deposit back.
There's been some discussion as to whether we would increase the fee a little bit. The deposit would be probably remain the same, but the fee might be a little different to accommodate. And it might not, I don't know. But I do understand the limitations in town of finding some place for a baby shower or whatever. Especially if you're looking for a smaller venue.
On average, how much did it cost to clean? When y'all had to have somebody come clean?
Yeah.
So that you maybe get some community service from the people that does community service on home, whatever they want them to clean the building. If then whoever's doing community service, come in and $10, that's
Can I make one recommendation, just since I live on that side of it?
we put a trash receptacle for people to throw their waste in when they're done, when they do clean up, because it ends up in my lot, and then I go to the
Bill,
A waste receptacle for people to put
oh,
their trash.
to put their trash in.
Yes,
Yeah.
we do.
Yeah, we do.
We
Yeah.
have some on the other side.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I was having a hard time hearing you. Yeah, we provide for them to carry their trash. At the back of the building back there, there's 4 or 5 receptacles to receive trash.
Well, I don't think we need to go up on the price, being how they can't use the kitchen pretty much anyway.
Light A Hall's $200.
How much?
200.
200?
It's a $400 deposit here. It's $200 for the rental to use Light A. So I think that for $150, I think it's still a fair market price.
Yeah.
I'd say do the
The real
150,
free.
150 should be able to clean City Hall. And if they leave it clean, they can have that 150 cleaning deposit back.
So are you suggesting a motion?
I make a motion, we allow people to rent it out for $150 deposit that is fully refundable if they leave it clean.
Plus 150 to rent it?
And when they come get the key, they get 150 that's not refundable. So it'll cost them 150 if they keep it clean.
150 if they keep it clean.
Yeah.
You know, they're just to, I kind of look at City Hall as kind of being the people's house a little bit. Yes, it's where business takes place and the government takes place, but it's also, I think, the people's house. It's you know, it's the citizens. You support it with your taxes and that sort of thing. So we have a motion for $150, $150 deposit, $150 for rental, and if it comes back, it's clean, you get the deposit back. Now, there has been some concern expressed, just real quickly, and add to this, that it is a problem if we rent it on Friday night and then Saturday and Sunday. That means that somebody has to come here and clean it. So there's been some discussion as to the number of times we lease it on a weekend, because it's a problem.
I feel like it should be limited to 1 per weekend.
And you can get on the calendar, clearly. Well, let's take the motion and see where we go. We have a motion, $150 rent, $150 deposit, you get the deposit back if it's clean, and do you want to amend? And the amendment to keep it, to lease it 1 time a week, 1 day a weekend. You okay with that, Mr.?
Yes.
All right, have the motion, we have a second. We have a second from Mr. Webb, all in favor? Motion carries. There you go. Okay. All right, increasing the water INS contribution from $4 to $7. Right now, we contribute to our INS funds here in town, in our county, $4 off every water bill. I believe that's the way it goes. And so that is used then for repairs and other kinds of things that we need to do. And so the feeling was that we need to increase that amount to $7 so that we can increase that fund more rapidly and to continue addressing problems that we continue to have. Doesn't change your water bill at this point. It's just that allocating these funds for this purpose. Discussion.
Charles, how many water bills was it every month?
Yep. Yep, 829 on your notes. Yeah.
Oh, that's just an example. I just put an example.
Oh, you just put an example, okay.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. Well, Sarah said it was around 800.
Yeah. Everything is costing more, and we're at a place where, especially equipment and other kinds of things that have to be purchased periodically, pump motors, equipment repairs, everything becomes more expensive, and so it's kind of an important move, I think. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to move that from $4 to $7.
Okay, we have a motion from Mr. Webb that we increase the water, ice, and end contribution from $4 to $7. We have a second. We have a second from Mr. Peavy. All in favor? Motion carries unanimously. J, approving the lease agreement with Enterprise for city vehicles.
Okay, go ahead.
Yes, good evening. My name is William. I'm working for Enterprise Fleet Management, and I've been working with the Chief of Police to get you guys on the program with Enterprise Fleet Management and provide you guys with new vehicles. Hello?
Yes, we're here. Go ahead.
I don't know if the chief showed you all the program already, and I was waiting for any questions.
Okay. Chief?
Can you explain the program just a little bit?
Absolutely. So what we do, we work with several government entities, and we help them give them a program that allows them to renew their vehicle. We put them on typically on a 5-year lease program to get them in and out of vehicles so they don't have to drive vehicles no longer to the point where it's more expensive for them to keep them alive, and rather they keep them in safer vehicle year round.
And as part of that agreement with you guys, we could include a part of that package as repairs and maintenance for the vehicles, but not for the police department, right?
So yes, ma'am. The police department has what we call the maintenance management program, and what we do with that program is that we can oversee the maintenance and everything, but that still will be your cost. So in the sense where you will have access to the same location, the same expertise and everything, but at the end of the day, the bill will still be yours.
But that's just on the utility vehicles, not the police vehicles, correct?
That's for the police vehicle. The utility vehicles are fully protected under the
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Any questions? Others? Questions from any of you?
The
Mr.
amount.
Peavy?
What about the amount to do it?
Honestly, right now, based on the size of the fleet that you guys have, you guys meet our requirement. So, as I explained to the chief, the first year, 7 vehicles to replace the 7 oldest vehicle, and 2 years from now, we'll be replacing the 5 remaining vehicles.
And as part of that replacement, y'all do y'all purchase the vehicles from us, the ones that we own now?
No, we won't purchase them from y'all, but we will be selling them for y'all. So we will sell them to either a dealer, an auction, or actually the public to be able to get the best return. And the whatever we get is absolutely yours.
Okay.
All right. Chief, do you want to add anything? Do we need other questions for him?
William, can you explain about you saying about there is a down payment requirement because of about the down payment requirement?
Can you explain the down payment, please?
Absolutely. The down payment is only for the police vehicles, and the reason is because the police vehicle does not retain the equity as best as a regular truck, for instance. When we sell those vehicles, they have a harder time bringing back something. So the reason why we put a down payment specifically for those police units is because at the end of the lease term, we want to be able to sell those vehicles so you guys have some equity back instead of you guys cutting us a check, for instance. It's because the value of police unit is so limited.
Do you all work with other police departments in the same
Yes,
way?
sir.
Commerce? You- Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Anything else from you? Anything else from you? Okay.
Thank you so much
Thank
for your
you.
time.
If I may have before I leave you, I don't know if the chief gave you the document. I sent him a document. In the back of this document, there's several clients, government client of ours.
Oh, yes, he did provide them to
Yeah.
us.
Sounds good.
Yeah,
Well,
very
thank
good.
you so much for having me, guys.
Yeah.
I truly appreciate that.
Thank you for
Okay,
your time.
Thank you so much.
No problem.
Bye-bye.
Thanks. You want to add anything, Chief?
Now, this is the cost on these, is just for other vehicles. The added cost would be for theirs, because, we give them a letter, whoever, and where we get a letter. The police vehicles, we would move equipment from the old vehicles and put them into the new vehicles, but we would have to pay for striping. I didn't want us to, if they did them, it'd be quite more expensive if we got turnkey vehicles from them, a lot more expensive. We could use the old equipment that we have, which the radios,
Do the partitions,
cameras, right.
do the partitions move from the Explorers
No.
over to the Durangos? So we'd have to replace
Some
them.
things we have to buy like that because it's different type vehicles, Ford or Dodge.
Kind of figured.
They don't fit. Most everything else would fit in there. We'd have to get a stripe and get lights.
Do you have a local source for the strapping, or somebody that you know of to do the strapping?
There's several around.
Okay.
What's the ballpark price for markouts?
With us using our own stuff, just depends on how we go back and stripe them. I think when we got the old stripe, they're like $25 a vehicle.
And then how much is partitions running these days?
About $1,000.
Other questions?
And the city trucks, they're all 250s, or they're not. Yeah, they're all 3/4 ton trucks.
So with this maintenance program, something goes wrong with it, they cover it.
Only for theirs,
It's only Public Works.
only public works.
You seen them?
They said police cars,
That's what I mean, the Ford truck.
yes. And the police will just do like, take them to get them fixed ourselves. Of course, they still have warranties on them, because they're all there.
Anything else?
And I did tell them that we'll talk about it if you'll vote on it. We want to make sure it started after October 1st.
For the new
So
The new
we'll put
year.
it in the new budget.
Yeah.
The reason they're asking now to get me on the order list. So it's something for y'all to put in the budget, for the upcoming budget.
And just to have it in perspective, what was the price on getting the white vehicle that replaced the blown transmission vehicle?
Say that again?
The newest squad car you guys got, just to put it in perspective, what was the price on getting that one?
Oh, we bought that, it was 35.
Right. 35?
35,000. And it was used, we bought it from the school. So, and it's still, and we spent another $2,500, $2,600 to get the equipment put in it so far.
Yeah, that's what I was putting all together, because that's
Yeah.
not cheap to keep having to replace those.
No. But I think the last new one we bought was 61 was 62,000 and one was 66,000. That was completely turnkey. So, and then these vehicles, you're getting them about 40 or 33.
They can get those better prices because they buy
Because they're-
in the quantity,
they're bulk.
and they're new.
Yes.
Yeah. I motion that we enter into a lease agreement with Enterprise for the city vehicles.
A motion from Ms. Lane that we enter into this agreement with Enterprise for the city police department.
No.
All of everybody.
Everybody.
For the city of
City vehicles, I'm sorry. City vehicles. Do we have a second? Have a second from Mr. Peavy, all in favor? Motion carries unanimously. Adopt the new international building codes. There are codes that are, Sarah has been working on this and working with Morris Swanky and talking with him a good bit about the building codes. And Morris, I believe, had suggested that either the 2018 building codes or the 2024 building codes, but his feeling was that we should adopt perhaps the 2018, because the 2018 building codes have been vetted more. They've been used and that sort of thing more. And so that was his recommendation, is that we move to the 2018 building codes. Questions or comments?
My only concern with going with 2018 instead of 2024 is that with new buildings that are going to be coming in, 2018 doesn't have a permit rating for tornado ratings on exterior walls or roofs, or a wind roof rating. There's no coverage on 2018. And with buildings that may or may not sell as time goes on, 2024 requires an exterior load and parapet wall fire and wind resistance. So as people come in and buy buildings, if we do 2018, you can just kind of build whatever. And a lot of home builders like to skimp on some of those exterior wall additions. But having the 2024, given the area we're at with straight line winds and tornadoes, it would actually rate us higher for the insurance standards. So everybody's homeowner's insurance potentially could go down as you're having to adapt to newer things, especially with straight line winds, tornadoes, all of those things. I don't think we're ever going to have an ISO 1 rating, given the size of our fire department. So adapting better building codes as developers are coming in, I think increases our safety abilities, and it kind of puts the weight on their shoulders to build it the right way. But as far as like people's currently existing homes, 2024 wouldn't change a whole lot, because it is done more to the blueprint standards rather than the actual current existing house. house. So I just kind of wanted to throw that out there when I was comparing the two.
Sarah, do you want to add anything?
What he just said is
Okay.
it's true.
Okay.
It just was out of the blue that I spoke to more Swanky the day before, and he's like, oh, but his only reason was for people have more experience in 2018. And we could go into more detail. I have that information we just explained in greater detail if you guys want to. Table it. I can provide that information for you guys.
Then I'll make a motion, we just talk about this at workshop and dig into it a little bit deeper. Yeah.
Or which one?
Table it.
No, to table it? Okay.
Just so we
All
can
right,
dig
we
into
have
it a little deeper.
Motion to table it. Do we have a second? All right, we have a motion from Mr. Webb, a second from Ms. Lane. All in favor of the table? And the motion will be tabled and we'll bring it back for the council. All right. Item L, fees for permits and inspections. Chastity, you want to talk about any of that? No?
No, I don't care, but I will talk. After doing permits and inspections, we came back and they said that we would only do them for, plumbing, foundation, and electrical, and new build. And that would, and those three are also including your new build. Problem I had with that is we're offering permits for fences, roofs, and other things that, you know, could need a permit for, but we're not charging anybody for those permits. It's just costing. So I made the suggestion that, permits without inspections be at least $20, and that would cover any of those. Permits with inspection go up to $90, and then the plan review for commercial and multifamily construction, $65. And then, new build, $950 for the first 1,500 square feet, and 45 cents for each additional square feet. And then permits for solar panels go up to $180, and that just kind of helps, for the cost in the city hall.
On the permits without an inspection, what is involved in that?
We print out paper, they fill out the paper, the permit paper, and then, the application, I'm sorry. And then we give them a application or a permit to put on the fence or the house or anything like that.
And we laminate.
Oh, yes, and we laminate them. Sorry, Sarah. But me and Sarah, we sit down with this, and I mean, paper and stuff is not cheap, and so.
Out of curiosity, the permit for the solar panels, since that also requires an electrician to get that into your home circuit, do you have to pay for the solar panel permit and then an electrical permit inspection?
No, I believe that's all included with the solar panel permit, correct,
So
Sarah?
if I get solar panels put on our house, I don't have to also pay for an electrical inspection to make sure that it was wired into the box as well?
Yes.
It's all in one? Okay.
That's probably why it's $160.
Okay.
From Bureau Veritas.
Okay.
That's what they were charging.
I wonder if we could bring this back to the workshop. I had some questions that I'm not sure I can, and I need some more information, I think, on this. So if we could bring it to the May 20th workshop and bring it back in June, that would be helpful.
And I'll go ahead and make a motion to table that as
I have
well.
a motion from Mr. Webb that we bring it to the workshop. Do we have a second? A second from Mr. Peavy. All in favor? Raise your right hand. Motion carries unanimously. In my head, there's something that's a little off here. I don't know what it is. There's something that's not quite right. All right. I'm going to just, the next item is to terminate the lease agreement with Calvin Loftus for the pavilion at the lake, at City Lake. And actually, and And so, and I've talked with Calvin. Calvin knows that we're considering this. The city is looking at some potential opportunities there. And Calvin's, the lease agreement, this was an add-on to the golf course lease that Calvin had come forward. Calvin and a group of folks had come forward, and then they came back and asked about leasing the pavilion to use that. So we had a lease. Let me just explain something real quick. We have a lease on the city lake. The city lake, I've always called the fishing club, which is really the country club. That's how they refer to themselves. So we have a lease for the country club, and that lease was established some years ago after some turmoil in the city, and the lease agreement for that is 2027. Then we had the golf course, and the golf course was also leased by another group of people who gave that lease up when their membership dwindled, and there were just some things that didn't work real well, and so they gave the lease up back to the city. The pavilion was kind of there, and it was not part of any of the lease agreements that we had. And so Calvin came back and asked about leasing the pavilion as well. So we amended his lease. So we are at this point, we have the option, if the city decides they want to use that, with notice to Calvin to ask him to give up the lease, and he's done that. So the motion that I need for this is just to terminate the lease agreement with Calvin Loftus for the pavilion at the city lake.
I make a motion that we terminate the lease agreement with Calvin Loftus for the pavilion at the city lake.
Okay. Motion from Mr. Peavy that we terminate the lease. Do we have a second? Second from Ms. Lane. All in favor?
Out of curiosity, before I vote on that, if we terminate the lease with Calvin Loftus, would people still be able to go to the city for?
Could you use your mic, please? I'm sorry. I have hearing aids, but in here I can't hear you.
Just out of curiosity. Nope. Nope. There it is. Out of curiosity, if we terminate the lease with Calvin Loftus, if people still wanted to use the pavilion at the...
Well, the city has to now decide how they want to use the pavilion. We're just taking it back from Calvin at this point.
Okay.
Yeah, that's all we're doing. Yeah, we're just terminating his lease, and we have the ability to do that within the agreement that we had with him. And Calvin is living up in Oklahoma now. He spends most of his time up there. And I think primarily what Calvin was doing is he was baling the hay off the golf course. And so when I called him, he did not seem to have a problem. But the issue is still how the city determines it will use the pavilion. Yeah. All right, I need a motion. Did I get a motion? Motion from Mr. Peavy, and we got a second. All in favor? Motion carries unanimously. Then we go to end the city golf course, and I'm going to pull that because Ms. Massey had put this on there for discussion, and she could not be here tonight. We will take this to the workshop to have more conversations because there's some potential complications with this one. And so if it's all right with the council, I will pull this off the agenda. Okay, O is electricity at the City Lake Pavilion. Right now there's electricity at the pavilion, and Calvin has been paying for that. And so it seems that if we're going to take it back, we either the city needs to take on the responsibility for paying for the electricity out there, or we discontinue the electricity. And it would be my suggestion, I don't think it's very much a month, it's probably just the basic fee that they charge. My suggestion is that the city keep the electricity at the pavilion, but that they take that on.
I'll make a motion for the city to take that one on for just a little while.
Have a motion from Mr. Webb that we keep the electricity and the city pay for it. We have a second. Second from Ms. Lane, all in favor? Motion carries. Item P, I'm going to pull that because I don't have the permit. I did talk to Paul this afternoon. He didn't get it quite ready. And so what I've suggested to him is that if he gets it ready before our May 20th portion of our meeting, that we'll bring it there and approve it. And even if we took it to June, it would be approved soon enough because the fireworks show is the last Saturday in June. With that, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to adjourn the meeting at 7 o'clock. Was that fast enough?
Yes.
Thank you all for coming. Thank you for staying.